What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today we have the stock markets set to open higher. We also have the price of Bitcoin rising and why we may see Bitcoin as well as other cryptos rally. Plus, I wanted to discuss the macro environment just to step back and take a bigger look at the picture of what is going on. I think that's really important to determine where we are in these markets. Are we going to go higher or is this all coming down? All right, guys, welcome back. Yeah, I wasn't able to make videos last week. Actually, I wasn't able to upload videos last week. I was away from my office here. Um, but anyway, I'm back, and so let's get started. All right, so this morning we have the SPY setting pre-market at 521. The Qs are at 443, and we have the price of Bitcoin at 62,700. And I wanted to discuss why we could be going higher in these markets. So let's start off with the M2 money supply. Uh, so we have seen this flatlining of the M2 over the past year, and that has just recently started to tick up. This is what drives a lot of what drives asset prices higher. And if we take a look at the global liquidity cycle, you can see right now we are at the bottom and we are just starting to turn up on global liquidity. A lot of countries are injecting liquidity into their markets, and we know this tends to drive asset prices higher. So, where are we at in this cycle? Well, Tom posted this over here on FX Evolution is his company, and basically he says we are here where we have energies uh, and things like utilities and financials going up, really more in this section. It's kind of in between these two. It's hard to say for sure exactly where we are, but it appears that we are in a late cycle boom, and this will probably continue to go on possibly for another year or two before we start to see those yield rates uninvert and things come crashing down. That's my opinion and belief on where we are at in these markets. Like I said, I think we got another year or two, and then things may get a lot worse. Um, so we have the sectors FLX, the financials, continuing to push higher. They're actually starting to outperform some of the other indices. You also have things like utilities really starting to take off here, and that is um, more defensive in nature. So as utilities go up, um, people are preparing for what is coming. Excuse me, guys. My voice is a little bit scratchy this morning. Anyway, we also have the 18-year real estate cycle or property cycle. And this suggests that we should peak here. We have like a 2 years winner's curse. So maybe that's 2023 and 2024 before crashing in 2025 and 2026 possibly. But I still tend to think this runs into 2025 currently, and then we may see that bigger correction or recession. We also have gold, setting at 23.46 this morning. It's kind of showing some signs of strength here, as well as silver. Silver has really started to turn up here over the past month, and it looks like we could be going a lot higher on commodities such as gold and silver. Uh, Gold could possibly go to $3,000 an ounce, and silver could go up here to around $33 an ounce, or possibly even much higher. I've heard some people say 50. We will have to see, but that is good for things like the gold and silver miners. And this is GDX. GDX is a ETF for gold miners, and I updated my charts here a little bit this morning, kind of refreshed things. But one thing I wanted to point out is we had this down sloping trend line. Once we broke through that, we knew that this area here was going to be key. Previously, we were looking at a little trend line through here, so I was talking about this at like $30. So that's been a great trade. Actually, had bought some previously when we saw gold start to break out. It came down a little further, got a couple more entries down here. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is if we take this, we had a inverse head and shoulders on the gold and silver charts, and kind of somewhat similar here for the gold miners. So if we just take that distance from the head to the neckline and we bring that up here, well, that puts us somewhere around $44 for the gold miners, or GDX, the ETF. So it still has a lot of room to run here, especially if the price of gold goes up. That incentivizes the miners to go out and mine more, making them more profitable. And they also lag the price just because of that specific reason that I just mentioned. And so some of these mining stocks are starting to look pretty attractive. Um, Even the silver miners, especially since silver is just starting to break out. We also have HSI uh, up to 19,128 this morning. We were talking about this when this broke out of this descending channel here. The Chinese government had been stimulating their economy, and these markets are down, a lot of them around 80% over the past several years. We're at historic lows that we have not seen in decades. So it looks like some of these emerging markets are just starting to turn around. So there is a lot of opportunity out there in other markets, and not just the US. Um, I'm more of a swing trader, so yeah, anywhere where I see an opportunity, a setup like this, where we break out of this downtrend, come back down to retest it, is generally a great place to get in. That's the way I like to try to trade. I generally look for a series of higher lows and higher highs. Once we have a confirmation of about three of those, that's when I really start to pay attention and look to get in. That in confluence with other factors, and really I like to have about I would say minimum 3 to 4 factors that shows that it's likely that there is a turn coming. But really, if you could get something like 5 factors or 6 factors in your favor, then that increases your probabilities. Of course, nothing is certain in investing and trading, but that is how I like to swing trade. We also had this inverse head and shoulders here. So obviously, again, once that broke out, that was bullish, giving us a target price of up around to this area. So I suspect that any pullbacks here will be met by buy demand for these markets. And if you are interested in buying stocks, gold, or crypto, you can do so over on Robinhood. And right now, they are offering a 1% bonus with no cap whenever you transfer an IRA or 401k um, into Robinhood. So that is available. Plus, they offer 8% the national savings rate, and you can get started by investing in your portfolio with just as little as $1. So they allow you to buy fractional shares. So, say you want to buy a stock like Nvidia, that's $900. Well, you can get started with just $1 and commission-free trades. There is a link down below if you are interested, and they also offer cryptos such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, 𝗗𝗶𝘀𝗀𝗶𝗺𝗏, and many more. So you can check that out if you're interested. All right, so let's move on to crypto and Bitcoin. Where are we? Well, Captain Fab Fabnik, he posted this chart over here on X, and he says that a bullish rally is coming for the altcoins, and I tend to agree with him. I think we are starting to see some signs of relative strength for Bitcoin. Ever since we got this uh, wick down here to 56,000, it does seem that Bitcoin and some of these cryptocurrencies are starting to possibly rally. We had oversold conditions on the short term. If we just go to the 4 hour, you can see that we had oversold conditions here several times. And of course, this oscillates up and down every couple days, kind of follows these cycles. So I'm sure day traders like to use that. I use that indicator some, but it's not the only thing I look at. I prefer to look at the longer term trends is my main focus. But whenever we have that RSI coming down, then we know that things are oversold and generally indicates a good position to start buying in. And you can see here on the daily at the beginning of May, we were down here at the very bottom. We have not seen the RSI this low on the daily in a very long time. We had it a little bit back here in January, but really it was back in the fall of last year, August, September time frame, and that was right before you started to see all these big runs. So, yeah, I think that looks pretty bullish. As I mentioned, we've got this inverse head and shoulders pattern here kind of playing out. Some people will draw this a little differently, maybe something more like this. But yeah, really, I think that if we can get above this midline here on this channel, that we are going to go back up and retest those all-time highs. I think there's a strong possibility of that. One other thing I saw this morning when I was playing around the charts is if you just take this trend line here, connecting the last high that we had with this lower high, we can see that we broke out of that, and now that is acting as support. Um, so that's one thing that I've kind of been looking at. Of course, if we fall out of here and we come down to this $56,000 range, that will act as a bit of support. We may bounce around down here just a little bit, but ideally, you don't want to see Bitcoin go too much below this $59,000 level. Um, it may just kind of come down here and wick down, but maybe we set in a higher low that would be bullish as well. It looks like the short term for the next couple of weeks to next month or two will be probably bullish for Bitcoin and crypto, but I think it really doesn't get started until later this year, where we really see these assets take off. That's just my opinion. And of course, if we do lose that level, well, then we still have the $50,000 to $52,000 level that we will have to take a look at. If we move on to the total three, again, we had this what is actually a bull pennant for the total three, which is everything except for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And we have broken out of that. That is acting as support. So as long as Bitcoin remains fairly bullish, that will be good for a lot of these altcoins. You have Ethereum remaining in this channel of a right around $2,900 up to $4,000. And we also have this longer term trend on this. And I just brought this back into the chart here this morning, updated this a little bit. Like I said, some of these charts, but you can see this trend here on Ethereum since the bottom. And we now have our third point of contact, so that could act as support for Ethereum, um, and it does lag the price of Bitcoin. So I think it won't be probably too long before you see Ethereum start to take off. Of course, we've got the spot ETFs that will probably be rejected for Ethereum. That could hurt the price a little bit. But really, I think later this year you will see a much higher price on Ethereum and other altcoins such as Solana. Solana is sitting at 145 this morning, also has this upsloping trend line. We did break below that a little bit, but Solana really looks like it is going to be probably one of the biggest altcoins out there and do the best this crypto cycle, in my opinion. And that is because they have the fastest network and um, they are one of the newer players, one of the newer big coins over the last couple of years. And yeah, they just their whole community and system is really looking strong. So I suspect Solana will be one of those um, shining stars altcoins this season. I'm sure there's a lot of the smaller ones that may outperform this by a lot, but I'm really just kind of trying to refocus on which one of these narratives are going to run. That's what I've always kind of done with the stock market and trading commodities. And so that is what I'm doing with some of these altcoins. You also have Chainlink setting at $13.50. It did lose its trend line here. We could probably update this. But yeah, really, Chainlink, I think, is one of those other ones that's going to do really well just because of its functionality case in crypto, linking the different chains together. Um, and we have this line of support here right now. So as long as we maintain above that, then I think it is up, starting to put in a series of higher lows here in the short term. The RSI is just starting to turn up. And if we go back to the Bitcoin price, well, we also have the full moon calendar, and we will be seeing a full moon here in just about another, I believe it's about 10 days. I think it's the 23rd or the 22nd, something like that. So we've got just a little over a week before another full moon, and as we know, every time we see these full moons print, that is generally bullish for Bitcoin. So on the way up. So I think that is another reason why you may see us go back up here and retest possibly these all-time highs here in the next couple of weeks. But in general, a lot of the stock market just kind of, cools off a little bit during the summer. A lot of the bigger traders go on vacation and money managers. So we do have that to contend with this summer. It may get boring here for uh, a couple more months or several months, possibly into August or September, before we start to see some of these other asset classes rally. So that is something to keep in mind. But I will continue to try to bring to you whatever I see in the markets that is creating a good formation pattern or looks like a good trade opportunity. Um, and if you're interested in buying, selling, or trading uh, gold, silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or these other cryptos, you can do so with iTrust Capital. I use iTrust Capital. iTrust Capital allows you to invest in a tax advantage IRA, and they allow you to buy, sell, and trade 24/7 with low cost and no monthly fee. Plus, they have over 3,700 plus 5-star reviews on Google. I use iTrust, as I mentioned, and I do highly suggest them. They actually have people that you can call and talk to when you're setting up your account, which is very nice. So if you're interested, there is a link down below. All right, guys, the main thing we need to keep an eye on this week is PPI and CPI. So we have that coming up today and tomorrow. Those will be very important to determine which direction the stock market wants to head next. If we print hotter than expected, then we may see some pullbacks, but for right now, we are in a bull run. So the trend is our friend until the end. And don't forget to follow me over on X or Twitter at Mind of Financier. I am Mind of the Financier on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So you can follow me there, guys, if you wish. And I post updates over there, just like the thumbnail of this video, which I posted last week because I wasn't actually able to make a video, but you can follow me over there. All right, guys, my voice is very scratchy, so I gotta cut this short. I hope y'all have a great day. Until next time, be legendary, guys. Take care and have a great day. Thanks. Bye.